So for today's lesson we'll learn Robert Johnson's tune called Love in Vain. And the way we'll learn it will be the intro and then one chorus of how to play Love in Vain. And it'll be a combination of largely how Robert Johnson played it, and then a little bit of Eric Clapton's variations towards the end. This lick starts on the 12th fret of the high E string with your pointer finger, and on the B string on the 14th fret with your third finger. And you actually hit this number of times, 7 times, like this. Okay, and then you go down one step, same shape, same thing. And again. And then after this sequence, you go on the 10th fret of the B string with your pointer finger, and the 11th fret of the G string with your second finger. After this, what we do is we go down to the 5th fret, and with our third finger we hit the 5th fret of the D string and the 5th fret of the high E string with our pinky finger, like this. And this is the famous Robert Johnson turnaround, where what we do is we always play the high E string with our pinky finger, but what we do is we go down the D string until we get to the 2nd fret. So putting that together with the high E string on the 5th fret with our pinky, it goes like this. Following this, we play an E7 chord with our second finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, first finger on the 1st fret of the G string, and pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and then the rest of the strings is open. And with our finger style playing, we can make this a little more interesting as well. What I did there was just alternating between thumb and the rest of the fingers. So the first 4 bars of Love in Vain starts out with a bar on the 2nd frets of the D, G, B, and high E string with our first finger. What we do then is we add in the 5th fret of the high E string with our pinky finger, and we play this chord. So what we do for the first bar is we play this chord with the monotonous bass line on the low A string. The second bar then starts out with a shape with our third finger on the 4th fret of the B string, right there, and our first finger on the 2nd fret of the high E string right here. And we play this again with the monotonous bass line going like this. It slides up 1 fret, like so. Then on the 3rd bar, what Robert Johnson does is he goes. So all together it goes like this. The 5th bar of Love in Vain is much like the first 4 bars of the song, except that we move it up so it works for the 4 chord of the progression, which is D. This means that we have to now play a monotonous bass line on the D string throughout what we do for the 5th and 6th bars. What we do now is we start on the 6th fret of the B string and the 4th fret of the high E string and slide up. So the 5th bar goes like this, and then that's the 6th bar. For the 7th bar of the song, we'll start out with this sliding shape on the 4th fret of the B string and the 2nd fret of the E string. And we'll slide up and just play that. And then what we do is we play a 7 shape, which means we'll be playing on the 4th bar of the G string, 3rd bar of the B string, and 4th bar of the high E string. And we'll play this with an open E string instead. And then we'll play the barred A chord with the monotonous A string. So again, that goes with the bar chord with the A string as the bass line, then the 7th chord of the E, and then back to the A. What we do is we start on the 3rd fret of the B string. This can be done with our pinky finger or our 3rd finger. I prefer the ring finger. So we'll go. So what I just did there was I went 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open of the top 2 strings. And then what I do here is we'll go open string of the G and B, sorry. And then what we'll do is we'll play on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then the 1st fret, and then the 2nd fret of the D string and the 1st fret of the G string. So all together this. So with the bass line that goes. Okay, and then what we do is we'll play with our thumb fretting the 2nd fret of the low E string, and then we'll play open string B and 2nd fret of the G string, and we'll just pick the bass line a couple times, and then we'll play the double stop, and then a hammer-on with our 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B string, and then a pull-off, and then picking the G string. And then we pick the double stop up here, and the bass line. So, altogether, so far it goes like this. And we land on the open A. So I know that's really complicated, but if you just focus on the little details, it'll really come together. And we finish with the Robert Johnson turnaround. Hope you enjoyed that lesson of Love in Vain. Thanks a lot.